Hi guys, this comes to you after an amazing but long day at Young Life Camp with some of the youth, so I apologise if I look a little bit tired, but I come to you today and I've got something I think really excited about. I think God's really spoken to me about a thought for the day, and it really challenged me when he spoke to me whilst I was prepping for the preach on Sunday. God really spoke to me about who Jesus spent time with when he was here on earth, and I remember thinking, oh, I kind of know that. I've read the Gospels, so I know the stories. So I was like, God, why are you telling me that? And he said to me, there's three areas that I want you to look at of the way that who Jesus spent time with. And the first area we're going to look at today is Jesus spent time with the Father. So in Luke 5 verse 16, it says that Jesus withdrew to pray and went to the lonely places to spend time with his Father, to spend time with God the Father. And he went there to hear what God was saying and to spend time in God the Father's presence. And I don't know about you, but when I hear the verse of that Jesus said, I only do what the Father tells me to do, that's kind of a weird verse to me sometimes. And I'm like, but he's God, so surely he knows what he's doing. But actually the way he knew was to speak to the Father, have that perfect relationship, to spend time with the Father. And that's why he knew what to do all the time, because the Father was talking to him and he spent time with the Father and he had that great relationship. So I guess my first challenge for you comes straight in with a first challenge is, how often do you spend time with the Father? How often do you sit down and spend time with God? And I know when God challenged me on this, I was really struck by it. Do I regularly do that? Do I make sure I get time every day, or even more than once a day? Spend time with God? And I was really struck by it. And I thought another thing that'd be great for us to do is if you could tell us what helps you, maybe in the comments on this video. Tell us songs you're listening to or Bible verses you're reading that really encouraging us to really spend time with God the Father. So I don't know if you've noticed, but actually the first one, the Father, is his presence. How much time do you spend in God's presence? You may know where I'm going with this by now. So the second one, when Jesus was on earth, he spent time with his friends, the disciples, and some of his other friends. Think about the four Gospels. Just think about how much time Jesus spent with the disciples. It blows you away, doesn't it? And when you look at the stories and I like to think beyond the story sometimes, I can imagine they had so much fun, laughter, there was learning, there was teaching. I don't know about you, it's like they did life together. And I don't know when you think about Jesus and discipleship, I think about them having fun and laughing, but they were humans. They spent great time together. And we need to be the same as that. We need to spend time with our friends and our family, those within our church. We need to make sure we spend time with them. We need to make sure we do community well. We need to make sure that we love and support people properly, especially during this hard time. I'm sure all of you agree there's been some tricky times like recently, and we've needed our friends around us to walk with us and help us through this time. We also need to be there when a friend asks us to be. When they cry out to us and say, I need you, whether it's a sad reason or maybe they want you to be there to celebrate, we need to be doing community well. But also when we look at the relationship between Jesus and the disciples, and when we look at Paul and Timothy and people like that, we need to make sure we're learning from each other as well. And my challenge for you in that is, who are you learning from? Who's discipling you? Who's mentoring you? I know for me, and I've spoken to Dom about this before, is that when I wasn't being discipled, life was a lot harder, and I would wander away from God. But being discipled just keeps you in check, and you learn and you love more about God, and you build great friendship with a person who's discipling you. So who's discipling you? And the last one is Jesus spent time with those who did not know him. When we look at the woman at the well, or we look at the story of the endless people being brought to Jesus to be healed, or when he was feeding the 5,000 and he taught them beforehand, these are all people who didn't know him. They weren't like close friends of him. Some of them may have heard of who he was, maybe that's why they were there. But they didn't know him. So what are we doing? Who do we spend time with that don't know Jesus? Do we have friends that that wouldn't call themselves Christians? Or do we go to clubs or groups with people who majority aren't Christians? God calls us to be people who go to those places. And the challenge for this is, well, if Jesus led a perfect life and he spent time with all those three groups of people, with the Father, with those who know him and those who didn't know him, what area is that you're struggling in, and what area is it that you're striving in? Ask God to speak to you about this week, and ask him to bolster the area of weakness. As I said, I'm going to be doing the same. And also thank God that he loves us and he loves every effort we try. I hope that's great, and I look forward to hearing your comments. So remember, he spent time with the Father, which is his presence. He spent time with his friends, which is our community, and he spent time with those who did not know him, which is their hope. I will see you all soon. Bye.